The only modern undisputed heavyweight champion of the world is now fighting a kickboxer?
But we can do what we want.
Let's talk about it. Oleksandr Usyk is one of the most decorated boxers of all time. He solidified his reputation as someone that takes on all challenges. However, many are criticizing his next fight opportunity. No disrespect to his opponent Rico Verhoeven, but that man should not be spoken of in the same conversation as Oleksandr Usyk. But is this fight anything more than a lopsided money grab? So now for the story of the fight. Rico fights out of a traditional orthodox stance with an 82-inch reach advantage. By contrast, Usyk has a shorter reach with only 78 inches. But with his ability to cut angles and dart in and out, this should not be a problem. For comparison, Tyson Fury had an 85-inch reach advantage over Usyk, but ultimately that was an obstacle that Usyk was able to overcome. Arguably, Rico would have a weight advantage over Usyk. He's going against the most feared heavyweight in the division, at a time where arguably the best days of Usyk's career are already behind him. This fight makes financial sense to both fighters involved, and this might be controversial, but after everything that he has accomplished, I believe that Usyk has the right to mess around and have a novelty fight. The Ukrainian was undisputed at cruiserweight, and then worked his way up to defeat both Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. At the age of 39 years old, Usyk is a seasoned veteran. However, this fight reveals more about the state of boxing as a whole, and it's evident that industry politics have tarnished the reputation of every sanctioning body. The fact that the WBA would call this a successful title defense if Usyk were to win is absolutely disgraceful. Rico has a boxing record of 1-0, meaning that the guy they defeated, Janos Fanfara, had a record of 0-5. And not to mention this fight happened over a decade ago. Now, Usyk is well within his right to secure the life he wants for his family and maximize cash. I'm not trying to begrudge him that. And the fact that Tyson Fury almost lost to Francis Ngannou, it's becoming increasingly more evident that certain MMA fighters have the potential to cause massive upsets in the sport of boxing. Disciplined fighter can adapt to different mediums, and at this point, it's almost a rite of passage for legends to take on lesser opposition. Floyd Mayweather had a somewhat competitive fight against Conor McGregor in the first 2 rounds. At the end of his career, Oscar de la Hoya fought Shaquille O'Neal, and most unfortunately, Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul. Whether we would like to admit it, this is what boxing looks like now. Even Anthony Joshua entertained a fight with Jake Paul, so none of this is remotely unprecedented. The sanctioning bodies have been inconsistent, and I believe that with every year they lose more and more credibility. A fighter could be training since the age of 5 years old for a title shot, but because someone else has a better social media presence, they get to cut the line. Now, above all else, this is an entertainment business, and marketing and sales drive the opportunities that fighters receive. But in the long run, it's irresponsible for these sanctioning bodies to entertain fights like this while also putting a belt on the line. If this Usyk fight was categorized as an exhibition, I don't think anyone would care. I know Usyk has basically cleared out the heavyweight division, so there's not that many contenders yet that he hasn't faced that pose any serious threat, but heavyweight titles used to mean something. There are many conflicting reports about what Rico's professional record actually is. He accumulated some losses early in his career. It really depends what organization you ask. Some people say he has 10 losses, other organizations say he only has 1 loss. It really depends what fights you choose to count and which ones you don't. On the higher end, people say that Rico has 60 wins with over 20 knockouts. Because Rico is known for his durability, I see Usyk winning a decision. I'm gonna be honest, Rico is a fighter that hasn't really been on my radar too much. But let Usyk explain his mentality for entertaining a fight like this.
A lot of people say, "Hey, Usyk, you must not boxing with Rico because he's not boxer. It's a fighter. Yeah. Listen, it's a show. All world, it's a show. We who? Actors.
Both of you are actors as well. Actually.
Yes, of course. But we can do what we want."
Usyk is one of the greats in the sport, and it would be a tremendous plot twist to see him lose to a kickboxer. The mystique of his undefeated record would then be in doubt. A mismatch Usyk fight that would entertain me far more is a fight with David Benavidez. And after Benavidez made his way all the way up to cruiserweight, it might seem outlandish, but it could happen. This is boxing. But if you want to know more about why Manny Pacquiao is living rent-free in Floyd Mayweather's head, I highly recommend you check out this video. Hit that red button to give me that dopamine. Peace.